Good evening, everybody. I'm just going to check in real quick here on the models, what we're looking at for the winter weather. I'm sure everybody's known they're kind of all over the place, so let's dive in here and see what we got to work with tonight. All right, to start us off with, we're going to look at the most recent HRRR. Typically, it's the most accurate and short-range modeling, so we'll look at that and see what we got. Anywhere in between 8 to 12, even locally higher amounts is what we're kind of looking at here. Initially, they were up north. Everybody was messaging us about that. The banding of the heavier precipitation has actually started to shift southward, which typically happens with cold air. The models don't handle these cold moistures very well, so. All right, so the HRRR, like I said, is showing anywhere between 8 to 12 and locally higher amounts. I wouldn't be surprised to see more with the potential for some thunder to come in with this. We all know thunder snow can really up those amounts by several inches at instances if you really get it going pretty well there. I'll jump in here and I'm going to show you something. What makes it really hard for people to predict the weather and this storm. Winter's not treated us very well this year. It's been really complicated on getting our forecast together because the models, none of them are consistent. What you're looking for is models to have similarities. Well, none of them have had similarities. As you can see, they're finally coming into a little bit of a agreement here. You've got, like I said, this is the European model. It usually handles pretty well as we start getting in closer. Anywhere in Harrison, 10 inches, 11 inches, Branson, 10, Northwest Arkansas over Fayetteville, you're looking about 9, 10. So everywhere's looking at least, I would say, comfortably in 8 inches of snow. Initially, they were looking at some sleet that was going to come in with this. Luckily, like I said, that cold air is pushed further south. So we're really starting to just ramp up those snow totals and won't have to deal with ice, which is a good thing as long as you like snow. So there was a European look at the GFS model, and it's kind of surprising. GFS is usually a little more conservative, but it's being quite bullish here. And we're showing up in Missouri when we're 17, 18, 20 inches in places, which I don't know if it's going to happen. I wouldn't be surprised one way or another. If anything, the higher amounts are probably more likely to happen. You might ask, what's making these totals go so much higher than what you've seen days leading up to? I think a lot of the news, the meteorologists are starting to catch on to it as well, is your ratios. So typically, if your temperatures are anywhere between 28 and 32 degrees, you're getting a 10 to 1 ratio. So you're getting 1 inch of rain equals 10 inches of snow. Well, you start getting down into the lower 20s and the teens, your ratios go up. So with this snow, we're actually looking at, I'll pull this up here. For a lot of this system, you can see this is a 14 to 1 is what this is starting out with. Even up here in the Missouri Ozarks, we're looking at 16 to 1. That's 16 inches of snow for every 1 inch of rain. Go forward in the models here, and like I said, we're well above that 10 to 1. You wouldn't think how much of a difference that makes, but number one, you get more snow for it, and dry snow like this is going to produce does stack up a lot quicker. It's not heavy, so it doesn't compact. You don't have the compaction with a dry, cold air snow like you would, like we did back in January. We had a lot of snowfall in January, but we didn't have these high snow totals just due to the compaction. So we can look at the Canadian model. Canadian models typically handle cold air the best. So let's see what they got for snow totals. You see, so see again, we're still at 10, 11 inches. I've up until this point tonight, I've not seen these totals come into an agreement. You know, we had, I'll show you here. We had the NAM, which usually handles our weather pretty well, was really struggling. It was showing very low snow totals, and you can see it's still most recent here. It's still struggling with it, but I mean, we were showing 3-4 inches of snow, and that's why people were asking earlier. They were curious. Well, why is everybody saying 3 to 12 inches? That's a huge span. Well, the NAM was the one. It was the one outlier, and it was saying no, we're only going to get 3 inches. Well, here as of this morning and continuing on throughout the day, the NAM's starting to catch on to what these other models are putting out. So that's why you've seen meteorologists have started up in their snow totals. We jump back to HRRR like I was talking earlier. Let's see here. The thunder snow. So if you don't know what thunder snow is, basically it's like a thunderstorm, but with cold weather. So in a typical thunderstorm, whenever you have thunder, it makes it rain harder. So when it rains harder, of course, you're going to have more precipitation falling. Same with the snow. So whenever we get that thunder rolling in is whenever you're going to start to have accumulations really ramp up here. Let's see. Okay, so here. We're seeing it's not a whole lot, but they're showing, the HRRR's now showing that there's a potential for some, I'll circle it here, it's kind of hard to see. It's showing a potential, these lines here is thunder, lightning. It's showing that there's a possibility that there's going to be lightning, which in return there's going to be thunder. So if this sets up, where these lines here are what we're going to call convective layering, like bands. You're going to have heavier bands of snow that are going to be produced from this that you just can't predict. I mean, no forecast, no model, nobody's going to be able to tell you where these are setting up at. So that's why they give you the range. That's why a lot of them you're getting 5 inches up to 12 inches. You're given that range because if you have heavy banding set up over you, you can have an inch, 2 inches drop within just a few hours, which would really ramp up your totals there. So, look here, like the icon it's showing us all the same things again. It's not there. I was about to say, that didn't look right. So it's showing us basically the same thing. 10, 12, 14 inches. And if you notice, it's all got this kind of like this V here. Every single one of these models is showing this kind of this V. And I'll show you why in just a minute, why that is. But if you can get models all to agree on a similar setup, is whenever you can really be like, okay, I really think that we're going to get this 10 inches. We're going to get this 8 inches or whatever your snow totals might be in that area. And we're finally getting that set up. So let's go here. Back to GFS. I think had it set up pretty well and pretty easy to see. So we're going to look at the total precipitation that is to fall. That wasn't GFS. Let's see. Maybe it was a European. Yep. So the European here. What this is showing is, so a half an inch of moisture precipitation is what they're expecting to fall with this model. So it doesn't sound like much until you start talking snow and you're talking 15-to-1 ratio on snow. So your totals really rack up really, really fast. We can see here your Canadian model, but same thing. So really, the Ozarks, our viewing area really is all this was back north up here. It was up north, and it has all started to shift down south, and it typically happens. So this cold air comes in and makes these storms shift further south, and that can really change the way that the forecast. You might have got up yesterday and saw 3 to 5 inches, and now you're seeing 8 to 10. You're like, there's no way. Well, that's exactly what's happened. And like again, the NAM, you're still calling for widespread heavy precipitation. So, anyways, I wanted to jump on here and just kind of go over what we're looking at. Gonna go over the snow totals. Like I said, I'm not a meteorologist. I'm not ever gonna claim to be a meteorologist, but I can look at models and I can kind of give an idea of what we're going to expect. This is going to be a very, very big snow producer. If you remember back in 2021 of February, we had a very big snow producer. So, I mean, this isn't uncommon. It does happen, but I did not expect to see these totals come into existence here. Something else we need to talk about. The cold. The cold is going to be... It's going to be something serious. It's going to be fierce. You've got to take this cold seriously. With this snowpack that's going to happen across the area, you're looking at... well, I'll just show you here. We can go up here. We can look at this here. So this entire area is in the either advisory or winter storm warning. Also with that comes, like I said, it's going to come with snow. Snowpack is going to make it not warm up throughout the days, which is going to only help that colder air push further south. So with that cold air pushing further south is really going to bring these temperatures down further. So I mean, we're looking by the end of the storm, when it's wrapping up, we're looking at the single digits in most places. That's not including your wind chills. We're talking, let's see. You're talking about wind chills in the negatives as the system passes through. And the ARRI only goes out this far here, but we can go look at the, we'll look at the blended models just to be a little more conservative here. But you can see as the system passes through, we're still single digits in the middle of the days. And then it's not warming up. And we're a week out nearly, and we're finally getting warmed up. We're 4 days out from this, and it's just now warming up. That's gonna be some crazy cold that people really need to take seriously, because we all think, well, snow's exciting. Well, some people think snow's exciting, but you think snow's exciting, and all we're worried about is the snow. Whenever in reality, the real threat here isn't the snow. The snow's going to be dry. It's going to be powdery. It's not going to stick to things. But you're dealing with single digits and down into the negative wind chills at night. That's our real threat. I think I saw a message earlier about energy. They'd put out a mass message to everybody talking about the severe cold. It's a real thing. We may not have power lines breaking from the severe cold, but very well could overload the electric system. Those power lines, they can only transmit so much electricity, and if everybody's got space heaters going in their houses, it's going to stress the system. So I don't expect widespread power outages, although I wouldn't be surprised after this system comes through to have some, very isolated incidents where the power's out for a short amount of time. If that does happen, everybody needs to have a way to stay warm. Whether they go somewhere else or have their car full of gas, have a generator, they need to have a way to stay warm if their power was to go out. Like I said, I'm not anticipating widespread outages, but the isolated event is possible. So, and now we can just look at this one just because, like I said, this is going to be a lot lower. this is the blend of all the models. It's a lot lower, but it's got every single model in there. Like the United Kingdom, the UK Met, it doesn't do well with this winter weather. So it's a lot lower. So it's going to drop it down a lot lower. But I mean, we're still looking in our area here with the blend of models. We're still looking at 7, anywhere between 6 to 8 inches. That's still a lot of snow. That's a lot of snow for our area. That especially whenever it was just a few days ago, we were talking 3 to 5 inches. So I think I can comfortably say everybody in our viewing area is definitely going to get some good accumulating snow. We're looking at, I would say, widespread 8 inches for everybody. Local amounts are going to be, I would not be surprised to see up above a foot. But like I said, I want to jump on here and kind of give everybody an update with what we're looking at here. So do we have any questions? Let's see. So a foot in Harrison, you really think so? Like I said, I think 8 inches for sure. A foot, I wouldn't be surprised. If we get some banding of heavier snow, which is absolutely possible, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all to see it. I'll say this, I'll be more surprised to see anything less than 8 inches than I would a foot. 9 inches is what I heard. Yeah, 9 inches is, yeah, it's definitely gonna be somewhere in that ballpark. They really got to take into account that those ratios, though, because those ratios is what's really going to ramp it up. We're dealing with a unique storm here. It's coming from the northwest. It's pulling a lot of energy with it, pulling in a lot of moisture. So we get moisture kind of coming from the Gulf and from the Pacific Northwest, which is just combining, bringing ample moisture to aid this snowstorm. We'll take a quick look here at as the storm comes through. People kind of want to know about time. The timing of the storm. That's another one. That's hard to nail down. I think HRRR does a pretty good idea of timing that storm and kind of getting it nailed down for us. But if I had to guess, we're looking at entering southwest, northwest Arkansas, hitting the corner up here, anywhere between 9:30 probably, maybe even a little earlier than 8, but entering the area about that time. It's going to work its way across Arkansas. It's going to be a long event too. We're talking about going all morning, all night, and wrapping up about 7 o'clock in the next morning. So we're talking about heavy snow for long periods of time with ground that's already very cold. We had a slight warm up, but we've been cold for so long. A 40-degree day here or there isn't quite enough to warm us up. So, but we're going across here. You can see it just continues on and on. It's just a very widespread sun. And then around the 19th, about 2 o'clock in the morning, it looks like this finally starting to wrap up all to our east. But any more questions before we hop off here? I just wanted to give you everybody a quick update of what we're looking at here. We don't have any more questions. We'll wrap it up here pretty quick, but we'll go back to, I can click the right buttons here. Hold on with me. Go back to, I think the HRRR is what I would say would be widespread, would be accurate and widespread. You're looking at, honestly, 8 inches might be underdoing it. We may be 12. We might be 15 inches in places. I think 15 inches might be a little bit of a stretch, but 8 to 12 I think is very reasonable. Okay, Stephanie, you got a question? But anyways, like I was saying though, you're talking 8-12 inches. That just is it's a shock for me for sure, because we went from last night, we went to bed and we were talking 5 to 8 inches, and now midday is went from 8 inches to 8 to 12. That's a big jump for, well, what's happened. So, but 8 to 10 for Lead Hill, I'd bet on it. I would agree with that. I think that's there's a good possibility of that happening. I don't like to really get into the numbers. I don't want to break it down by area, because models are not good at that. What it's showing you is it's showing you there's a possibility for this heavier banding snow like this up here to set up somewhere in this area. It's not saying it's going to set up in Boone a little bit over, like, it's not saying it's going to set from Boone County all the way over to Washington County back up to southwest Missouri, but it's going to be in that general area. You're right. Don't talk fast. I don't talk fast. You're all right. But so that, I mean, that's all it is it's not saying that it's going to happen in this specific area or in this town, but it's saying it's going to happen pretty close to this area. So wrapping up real quick, we'll recap. 9 a.m., roughly 9 a.m., we're talking about the snow moving in from the northwest, coming across southwest Missouri and northwest Arkansas, about 9 a.m., give or take an hour one way or the other. Central Arkansas, north central Arkansas, we're talking about, I would say 9 to 11 a.m. probably is whenever we're expecting to come here. If you're going to be out traveling, if you're doing your last minute errands or anything, get out early, because it's going to go downhill quick. I had someone talk to me earlier about the dry snow. We're like, well, dry snow blows around, it doesn't stick to roads. That's partially correct. It doesn't stick to things. But the snow that is on the roads, that snow is very fine. Cars drive on top of it. It melts. With low temperatures like we're going to experience, that's going to freeze up quick. So the roads will actually be slicker than they might could be with wet snow, because a plow can push that wet snow off real easy. Blowing snow, of course, they push it off, but then it blows right back on there. So get out early. Northwest Arkansas, you better get everything done well early into the morning, because it's going to get interesting really quick. North Central Arkansas, Mountain Home, Harrison area, you need to definitely have your stuff wrapped up, I would say, before 11 o'clock. Be back home. But if anybody doesn't have any other questions, we're going to hop off here.
Your live and up-to-the-minute severe weather coverage for the Arkansas and Missouri Ozarks.